right, we're gonna get this set up here. Okay, great. All set up. I think I can see comments here out of the corner of my eye. It's Friday. Welcome. Let me know if you're when you're coming in and where you're from. Hey, Lizette, welcome. We're gonna wait just a few minutes, and then we'll get started. I'm excited about this. I feel like the singles has been a really interesting education, and I'm ready to get going even further now. So we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes, and then I'm going to spin. If I can get the technology down there, I'm going to spin a little bit. I'm going to try to spin some wrapped singles. I am intrigued about spinning 2 plies the same direction at the same time without making a mess. And so we're going to give that a try. When I first did the wrap and roll technique, I did that live and it was a mess. And I was hoping for a friendly octopus to help me. So this might be the same thing. Who knows? All right, welcome. Let's see who's here. Okay, Kathy's here, Margaret's here, Debbie, Jay, Kathleen, Lisa. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. This has been such a fun project. I feel like I'm not getting as much spinning done as I wanted to. So if that's happening for you, you're totally not alone. There's a lot going on this spring. And we are racing up to an in-person sale the first weekend in June. So I'm excited about chapter 3 and 4. I have some plans for it. I'm afraid that's not going to happen until June, but I am going to get some done, and maybe I'll spin a little bit at the Estes Park Wool Market. Who knows? All right, so let's get started. We're kicking off chapters. I've got some notes here. Chapter 3 and 4. So chapter 3 is standalone singles, and chapter 4 is spiral yarns. And if you were in the show and tell a week ago, I kind of posed the question, did we want to do more singles? Was it just me that was tired of spinning lace singles? And Catherine had this great idea that we might combine those 2 chapters. So what a great idea. I think there are some things in here that are a little, they're wrapped is one way, spiral is another. And I know one is considered a single and one is applied yarn. But I think that there are some similar techniques here. So that should be fun. Hey, Kathleen, Jessie, Joanne, hi. So that's the plan. So I'm going to some of you may have read ahead. I've read the chapters several times. I'm still a little trying to absorb it all. But I want to wander through the yarns that kind of jumped out at me. So in the standalone singles, the individual yarns that she talks about are felted singles, felted and then unspun singles, which is intriguing to me. Slub singles, wrapped knop, auto wrapped singles, energized singles, and then sized energized singles that you would use in a collapsed weave. And I really want to try it. The fabric that makes looks just really soft and gauzy and beautiful, and I would love to try that. So I have lots of ideas. Hey, Jamie. Oh, the storms. There are a lot of storms rolling in. We're having weird weather. We had a weird barometer drop, which meant we had migraines and some other stuff going on here, and we had a set of quads that came. A ewe who totally outdid herself, and they're doing great. They're a couple days old. I just checked on them a little while ago. Okay, so then chapter 4 are spiral yarns. I should have showed you the pictures. The pictures in here are beautiful. And if you don't have the book, I would look for it maybe at the library. I think it's such a wonderful resource. So this is the picture of the singles, the intentional singles or standalone singles. And then the spiral single or the spiral yarns are here. Oh, somebody can't get in. I wonder if that's weird. Let me see what I can do about that. Hang on just a second, you guys. Okay, let's see if we can get her in here. Okay, so spiral yarns are, so it's a basic spiral yarn. And I think the interesting thing about spiral yarns is the kind of the bump that you get with that based on the, words are sometimes hard. Oh, the not bevel, but anyway, the direction that you are holding your ply. So, and the tension, those two things will create very different yarns. So there's a flame yarn that's really done on, I think, a slub single, gimp, and then beaded yarns, which I find very interesting. And I'm not sure that I have the patience to also string beads. But I have seen beaded yarns and they're just beautiful. So lots of possibilities. Okay, I'm hoping that we got Sue in here. Okay, so Jamie, this is the book. It's Sarah Anderson's, oops, wrong. Sorry, I'm holding it up to the laptop. It's the Spinner, it's probably backwards because I'm using my phone today. The Spinner's Book of Yarn Designs by Sarah Anderson. And we started with, there's kind of some basic information, and then there was information on singles for plying, and we did that, and now we're on to standalone singles and spiral yarns. Okay, I think people are looking for a Zoom because it was a Zoom last week, so that's confusing, and I'm sorry I didn't put that in my little reminder post. Okay, so lots of yarns to choose from this time. And one thing I want to say that I said, I think in the kickoff for the first chapter that we did together, was that you don't have to spin 100 yards of something or 200 yards of something. You can spin 50 yards of something or 25 or 10 and decide that is not the technique for you and try something else. So, if you try something and you don't love it, it's not a commitment. Don't feel like you have to keep going. Please do something else. And there's so many to choose from that, it's pretty exciting. So I learned so much from the singles. I feel like in some ways I felt like I got kind of reintroduced to spinning in a whole different kind of way. And it's not, I've been spinning for, I don't know, 10 or 15 years or something like that. But every different technique and every different piece of information kind of, could change the way you think about that. Yep, life is way too short, Catherine, to spin something you don't enjoy. And that includes fiber too. I haven't spun a lot of fiber I didn't love. A little bit. But you know, life is too short for that. And sometimes tricky fiber teaches you something. You know, when I learned to spin, we had Navajo Churro sheep. I spun, not intentionally and then intentionally, a lot of twine. I learned, you know, to separate the dual coats and do different things with different fibers. I had a ram that only gave that outer coat, and we made rope with it. So, you know, there are things to learn, and often that means you can sit down at your wheel and spin almost, or your spindle, and spin almost anything. Kathy, we were talking in another group that we're a part of, and she mentioned a book on spinning all these art yarns with a spindle. And if you've, I don't know where you are, Kathy, if you're in the car or if you're someplace parked. But if you could drop that in, that link in, if not, I'll drop it in later. But it looks like a great book. And if you're a spindle spinner, I think that would be, you know, fun information to have. Okay, trying to get these guys in here. Okay, what else? Anybody that's looked at those chapters? Let's see. I got to catch up with you guys a little bit. I'm here. I'm just, oh, Kitty says it's 55 and misty. It's like, I think the temperatures has dropped some here. It was nice this morning, but no sun right now. I was surprised about that too, Catherine, that the single spirals around the thread. I would have totally thought it was the other way. Okay, Sue. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, sorry about that, you guys. I will be better about getting people in here. Okay. Okay, she says it's yarn spinning with a new twist, maybe. I think she sent me maybe the Amazon link, and I'll try to put that in the comments after we're done here. It looked, I'm not a great spindle spinner. It looked fun and challenging. It's enough for me to just, you know, make a consistent cycle and spin. Okay, so tell me, for those of you who have taken a look at these chapters, tell me what you think that you might try. I really want to try that collapsed weave. It looks like a lot of steps because you're spinning an energized single, and the deal really is that you want to capture that energy. But when you start knitting, or in my case weaving, you know that the twist goes to the place of least resistance, which is why, you know, when you're spinning slub yarn, that slub doesn't spin because it's easier for it to go and twist in that finer part. So if you haven't read the chapter, the idea is that you you spin your energized single so it's boingy, and then you stretch it out on 2 PVC pipes that are kind of set up like a nitty knotty, but they're not turned. And then you size it with, oh, I should know because I was thinking about going and getting some at the grocery store. Oh, what is it? Here, I've got it here. You size it with xanthan gum. And then you spin, and you spin it very loosely. And there's a beautiful picture here of of a couple of things that she did. And here is a picture of it on the PVC pipe. So what you're really doing is you're capturing that twist, and it will be, you know, fairly straight yarn, and you weave it. And then when you finish the weaving in water, it collapses on itself, and it makes this beautiful gauzy texture. So I really want to try that. I know I'm not going to have time for that before that first weekend in June, but sometime after that. Oh, beads. I don't, so Catherine, you said you've done that before. Do you have to like thread all the beads on the yarn first, and then do you pull them up as you're spinning or applying? That is my guess. So we'll see. Okay. So we'll be working on this all month. The next, maybe I'll do, because I know some people are already kind of chomping at the bit and spinning. I will do the dedicated post in a few days. And I'm trying to be better about using the hashtags so that you guys can find things. And so I'll hashtag that. So if you're looking for the dedicated post where you can ask questions or post your progress or something, a thought, something you're thinking about, so that you can find that. And then the show and tell will be 2 weeks before the June show, which is, I can't look at the I can't look at the calendar. It will be let's see, the June show will be 27, 28, 29. So the next kickoff will be the 20th of June, because it's kind of a short month. And the show and tell will be the 13th. Yeah, June's kind of a short month. It starts on a Sunday, so it all gets packed in there. Okay. I have a vision of it, Catherine, right? And then she's eating all the chocolates because she can't wrap them up fast enough. Okay, that's, I'm a little worried about that. That's how this is going to go here. We're going to see in just a minute. Okay, yeah, pre-threading the beads. I think that would be fun. And we have some great bead shops in town, and I don't go very often because sometimes I go down that rabbit hole. But what fun that would be. Okay, so I'm gonna come back here to the direction. Excuse me, for the directions for the wrapped singles. So I've spun a little bit. The bat that I'm using, oh, it's so pretty. I got this from Erica. I'll show you the rest of it. It's called Hillside. Merino bamboo, dyed by Curly Q's. Merino hand dyed by You to Me to You. Merino bamboo nylon. Bamboo. and it's a layered back. And I've been wanting to do something with this. And then the thread that I'm going to use is a kind of a metallic copper thread. And I did I guess it would have been a spiral yarn with some BFL that I just spun from the fluff, like a big pile of fluff in my lap. Okay, I'm going to try to tip this down here. And see if I can get my wheel in. Let's see. And I'm going to have to kind of wait for it to catch up on WAFA so I can see if I'm in the right place here. All right, I think we're maybe just, whoops. Let's see if it's gonna dip here. Okay, so then what happens is you tie it on, apparently. So I'm gonna tie it on here. Really, there's nothing like trying something you've never done before in front of your friends. Okay. And the deal is apparently that you try to keep that out of the spinning triangles. So apparently that happens by hooking it with your... Okay, because I'm not sure how I'm gonna draft. Oh, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I think I need a little less tension. All right. Ooh, that got really thin for me. Okay, we're going to take all the tension off. Maybe back of it. Just a hair. Oh, you know what? That's because I'm plying it, huh? Okay, so I gotta think about this because they're both going in the same direction, right? Okay. Okay, the word I would not use is love on this one. Well, maybe. It's way thinner than I thought it was going to be. Well, it'll be energized for sure. Okay, seriously, there's no tension on that at all. Because I had thought maybe, that it would be thicker. I don't know. The picture shows her drafting down here, but something's happening up here. It's pretty. It's very fine. And we'll try one more time. And then maybe I'll do some of this behind the scenes. I think I'm maybe just thinking too much about it. Right? Because I think they're both going the same direction here. Let's see, now I don't have enough pickup. Okay, please somebody have some advice. Thanks, Jamie. I'm always up for making a fool of myself. Yeah, Catherine, I didn't. That's what I. Okay, there's thread. That's what I thought too. But I have to tell you that it's really impossible to see the thread. So, okay, there we go. That was good. So that's more like the flame yarn where, actually that's a spiral yarn, but you know, where you'd have a thin spot and a thick spot, and see, I've got a lot of extra. You know, it's funny, I think, oh, good grief, this would be a lot to have to, you know, draft and then spin. But I do that when I use that wrap and roll method. I spin it about a yard at a time. But I think maybe pre-drafting out a little bit might get me the thickness of yarn that I'm looking for. My plan for this is some kind of funky art weave on the rigid heddle, like as a you know, kind of like as an accent. But I don't feel like, well, I don't know. I mean, I look at it and I think I don't see the thread, but then I think that copper color's not really in the so yeah, guiding it like that with my finger is a lot like a core spin. Only you're, I don't know. Maybe a thicker yarn would, you know, you could see it better. But it does also talk about, you know, these, both this way, and if you were to spiral ply it, which, you know, means your single would be spun first and you might not have some of these problems, is that, you know, thread isn't necessarily all that strong. And it did say that weaving is probably a better bet for yarns like this because knitting puts more, I don't know, tension on the yarn. Come on, here we go. Okay, I'm yammering away. I gotta see if anybody else has got some good ideas. Okay, much like a core spin, Kathleen says. The other thing that I think is interesting, and I want to try it just because I think, you know, I think it's just fun to try stuff, would be to do this with like 2 or 3 threads. And I think that it might be kind of fun. Somewhere in my stash, I have some mohair. I mean, the main part of it is... Okay, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot longer. Oops, I need 3 arms. But I did want to see what it's going to be like to, you know, bring in the next little bit of that. So I'm going to see how that's going to work here. because, you know, there's a need for more than one hand here. Okay, so I have some of that cop situation going on where it goes, you know, back and forth and back. I love to spin those yarns, and often I'll spin, you know, if I'm plying something onto itself, I like to play with the ply. So I might be, you know, doing a traditional ply, and then, some little shepherdess somewhere. You know, so the cop is where you wind it back and forth on the, you know, instead of just continuing on your way, you come back and forth a few times. And I'll do that with you know, if I'm just plying something back on itself, just to get it interesting. And then I'll do a little wrap, and then I'll go back to traditional, and then I'll, you know, come back and do a cop and knop. It's a knop, I think. Well, and maybe I can just guide it on here with that other finger. There we go. Well, I can see where this could take some real practice. But fun. Okay, I'm going to stop there. That's probably enough. Okay, hang on just a second. I'll pull the camera back around. Okay, here we go. Ooh, hold on to your hats. All right, well, that was kind of fun. Always good to try something new. And there's lots of new stuff in here. Okay, so I gave you the dates. We talked a little bit about the chapters. I would love to get some chatter going on in that designated post, or anywhere. You can make your own post and, you know, and put the hashtag in there. The hashtag is #intentional_twist. And I picked that because when I searched it, both in Instagram and Facebook, there was maybe 1 or 2 posts. So I wanted something that was really specific to what we were doing. But, you know, I would love to hear what you're thinking, what you're trying. You know, are 2 people trying the same thing and you're having the same problems or different problems, whatever that is, or enjoying it. You know, I want my spinning to be peaceful, and it's, you know, not that I don't love to try things, but, you know, I often have 2 wheels set up, so I've got something going on that can be peaceful that I don't have to think about, and then something else that I'm working on. But this was fun, and I'm not done with it yet. All right, you guys. Oh, that's interesting. I have lots of mohair, and I should try something like that. That would be a great way to use those. I comb my locks so they're not really curly because I worry about the vegetable matter. But that would be a great way to kind of show them off in there. And I love it when the little pigtails stick out. So that'd be awesome. Okay, you guys, that's it for today. Next week is the show. So I'm doing Fiberside Chat with Vicki Donnelly on Tuesday. But nothing on Friday because it'll be the show. And then that following week, please tell me, is the following week, okay, come on, gotta look at my calendar. Okay, so next week is the 23rd. The following week is the 30th, so I'm probably doing little loom weaving or something. I'm making, let's see if I can show you. I'm doing some samples for my booth. I started one last night, so I'm doing some crook brog. And so I'll plan to do a little something on little loom weaving on the 30th. And then we'll be in Estes on the 6th, and the following week will be show and tell for this one. So thank you guys so much for joining me and for being a part of this. It's so much fun to do this with you guys. All right. Have a wonderful weekend.